Well, hello again. The week has flashed by. It's Sunday, the 28th of September 2025. It's 12:30 in the afternoon, and we've got a few showers coming through today, so I'm inside again. Much prefer to do these outside, but there we go. Okay, got a few notes this week, surprisingly. So let's get into it. Now, I thought this was quite funny. I saw Eric Davis, an extreme close-up, not a pleasant sight, being interviewed by somebody. I saw his whole face was like that, and he seemed to have developed several nervous tics. Eric Davis. Now, I strongly suspect this is due to the fact that he thinks he may be subpoenaed. Okay, so he tells us, Dr. Eric Davis tells us Bob Lazar is a nutcase. And he's not a physicist, and he never worked on any alien spacecraft. He didn't work in any secret facility. He doesn't go into detail, but Bob Lazar was a radiation monitoring instrumentation technician. He's never seen an alien spacecraft. He's a fantasist. So I'll get to the bit in a minute about why you can put a line through Bob Lazar. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. So, Eric Davis says Bob Lazar is a nutcase. I wonder if Eric Davis has looked in the mirror lately. Because Bob Lazar's in good company, isn't he? I mean, Eric Davis has made some really wild claims in the past, and remember that I think many of Davis's claims would put him in the nutcase category, to be honest, although I think he's right about Lazar, and I'll tell you why in a second. Eric Davis said he knows someone that knew Lazar's supervisor, and he was a technician. He's not working on an alien spacecraft. So, remember Eric Davis sat next to Luna, Senator Luna, at the last hearing, and he was telling her all about these alien species that are visiting, the insectoids and the Nordics and the greys. I can't remember what the other ones are, the insectoids. Anyway, he was telling all about these. And yet... yeah. And Eric Davis also said in this interview, which was only last week, to the interviewer, so remember he was telling Luna all about these visiting ETs. Some of the claims he's made in the past allude to ET technology. But he said to the interviewer... if you're asking me if I've personally seen or handled ET technology or biology, the answer is no, I haven't. So Eric Davis is telling all these tall tales, but he's saying he has no personal experience with ET technology or biology. He's never seen it, he's never handled it. Okay? Yeah, he's sitting next to Luna, telling Luna all about these visiting species. That's probably why she didn't remember Eric Davis, when somebody said, is Eric Davis going to be there? She said, who's Eric Davis? She probably put a line through Davis a long time ago, as she should. I think Davis has made that statement because he smells subpoena. There's a whiff of subpoena in the air, and he's sort of prepping them for, if they do subpoena him and he goes in there, he's going to say, well, I've said recently that I've never seen or touched ET materials, I've only been told this is going on. It's a recurring theme, isn't it? I've been told. No one we've seen so far is claiming they've seen and touched this stuff, except for Jay Stratton. Maybe they should subpoena Jay Stratton, But then they probably put a line through Jay Stratton because he said he was followed home by a Wolverine werewolf from Skinwalker Ranch. Shepherd's Crook, stage left. Thank you, Mr. Stratton. Or is it Dr. Stratton? you know, Davis has been giving the impression that he's been working on these ET materials, spacecraft, recovered spacecraft, for a long time, for years. Now he's saying, "Oh no, I never did that." Did I say that? I think you're mistaking me for someone else. It's all bullshit, isn't it? Very obviously, it's all bullshit. So, yeah. Although I think Eric Davis is not worth listening to. I think he's a bullshitter. I think some of his ideas are crazy, nut stuff, nutcase type stuff. I think he's right about Lazar. You know, because as I've said before, it's pretty obvious that Bob Lazar is a fantasist. You know, he's made up the whole cockamamie story. I've left a link to Eric Davis saying Bob Lazar made up the entire cockamamie story on previous videos. I might leave it on this one as well. I'll link to this maybe below if I can find it. But we know that Lazar is a fraud, absolute fraud, guaranteed fraud, because he can't produce any of his claimed qualification certificates. So he claims an MIT, Caltech, you know, physics, electrical engineering degrees, master's degrees. He can't produce those certificates. He can't produce any of the coursework or project work associated with the courses that he would have to have done to get those qualifications. He can't produce any of that. Oh dear, he doesn't appear. He doesn't appear in any of the Caltech, MIT yearbooks. No one that attended these courses at these universities at the time remember him being there. He can't name any of his lecturers at these universities. He's a very obvious fraud. I just can't believe why people take this guy seriously. It makes no sense to me. So I reckon, yeah, okay, I'll get to that in a minute. I was going to say something else, but I'll get to something else where it's a better fit. So Bob Lazar, obvious fraud. Even his old mate, George Knapp, tells people behind the scenes that there's a problem with Lazar. Now, what does... remember Knapp said on Weaponized recently that he doesn't believe in aliens. So has he come to the conclusion Bob Lazar's a fraud, it's all bullshit? But what else is he saying behind the scenes about stuff that he does talk about, you know, that he gives us the impression that he believes? Is he saying behind the scenes, you know, to the in crowd, to the little clique, the ET is coming here and crashing here, Inc. Behind the scenes, that he thinks it's all bullshit. You know, is that you know? I mean, it's strange he doesn't believe in aliens because he's been milking. Knapp has been milking this alien nonsense for decades. You know, well. What's he saying to others about other alien stories behind the scenes? What's he saying about all these Russian ET files that he went to Russia and got in the 90s? You know, he got those back in the 90s. He's saying he doesn't believe in aliens. He's saying it's all bullshit, isn't he? Everything in the decades that Knapp has been looking into this, he's seen nothing to convince him aliens are coming here. It's all bullshit. That's what he's saying. But, you know, sometimes you see him on there, you don't get that impression, do you? So it looks like he's sort of milking it for money, but he knows it's all rubbish. Like most of them, if not all of them. So that's George Knapp. Now, Borland, this new guy on the scene, he tells us he's actually been a UFO nut for years. So, you know, he's not just some guy that's experienced, claiming to have experienced this. He's had an interest in this subject for years. He would have watched the X-Files, all the science fiction films. He's probably read all the science fiction books. This is Borland. You know, he's desperately peddling his flying triangle story He has to, really, because he tells us he's unemployable. He's now unemployable. People have probably written him off as a nutcase. Presumably he doesn't want to join Grusch and Corbell selling real estate. If you can't do anything else, sell real estate. That's how it works, isn't it? It's a bullshit industry. Go from one bullshit industry to another. I think Borland lifted his equilateral triangle story directly from the X-Files, the TV series The X-Files. Specifically, Series 1, Episode 2, it's called Deep Throat, this episode. I'll leave a link to the relevant clip below. I think he substituted Mulder in the clip that you'll see if you watch it for himself, and then came up with this story. And it's a pretty good fit, really. I'll leave a link to the clip below, and yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that's where he's got this from. So it's Series 1, Episode 2, Deep Throat. It's only a short clip, runs for 3 minutes, but I think it's the bit you want to watch. If you start watching the clip at 1 minute 30 seconds, you'll see exactly what Borland described. Lifted straight from the television science fiction series The X-Files, as is a lot of this stuff. If you look at it, and you like me, I like The X-Files. I like science fiction, but the difference between me and these guys is I'm not trying to make a living out of telling everybody it's real. You know, I've got a day job, I'm doing all right. In the words of the song. So, yeah. So I'll leave a link to that clip below. You can skip to 1 minute 30 seconds. It's only a 3 minute clip, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Put a line through Borland. It's rubbish. Jake Barber's still hanging in there as well. Hanging in by his fingernails. He's making suggestions to the UAP Secrecy Task Force. Oh dear, that he can introduce them to people that are in the know and all this sort of stuff. See, that way he can sort of distance himself. If they find out these other people are bullshitters, as they surely will, he can say, well, that's what they told me. Again, recurring theme. So, you know, that read a lot like what Barber was saying, read a lot like excerpts from the TV show The X-Files scripts. Again, you know, is he hoping that people will have forgotten all about that, or they're not sufficiently interested in it to have watched The X-Files? I'm surprised he's not suggesting meeting contacts in a poorly lit underground car park in the middle of the night, just like they do in the X-Files TV series. The X-Files TV series, and I think the X-Files. And in the movie, All the President's Men. You know, dimly lit underground car park at night. Got to meet the contact. Get around here, slightest noise. What was that? So I think the TV series The X-Files probably got that idea from watching the movie All the President's Men. You know, the secret meeting in the car park at night, dimly lit, you know, in the shadows. And the X-Files thought that'd be a pretty good fit for the X-Files. Well, we'll do that, you know. So X-Files has Deep Throat. meeting people in the underground car park at night, just like the movie All the President's Men. This is all from fiction. Oh, actually, All the President's Men was probably true, wasn't it? They might have actually done that because it was a true story, wasn't it? But it's effective though. It looks good, doesn't it? So, yeah, if Barber suggests meeting anyone in the car park, that would be in the middle of the night, dimly lit car park. That'd be hilarious. I hope I see that somewhere if that does happen. I'd love to rip that to shreds. So, Mr. Barber tells us the craft's energy source is far more interesting than the way the craft traverses the galaxy. I doubt that. Because he's sort of he's hinting at he's hinting at free energy here. You know, we can solve the world's problems with free energy. You know, how many of these people push this free energy rubbish? And that's what it is. There's no such thing as free energy. Nothing is free in nature. So, you know, and personally, I think how they would actually fly through interstellar space in good time, I think, would be a lot more interesting than what they're using to actually generate the power. I mean, once you know what method you're using to get around the place, you know, you can always make something power it. Oh dear, you know, gravity manipulation, I would think, would be, you know, pretty high on the list of interest there. Free energy, science fiction, well, so is gravity manipulation, isn't it? You know, we don't even know what gravity is. We know how to measure it, we don't know what it is. So, yeah, I don't know. Barber's just peddling a narrative. You know, that all right, they're not going to believe my flocks of birds, the bugs flying past the helicopter, the little dim little lights in the distance. You know, because we're summoning ETs. You know, but we can't get them to come and land 5 meters away. You know, it always has to be a little light right in the distance, because it's other members of the Skywatcher team flying drones around with LED lights on. So Barber and his Skywatcher team have only produced photographs and images of flocks of birds, bugs, distant drones. I hear the sound of distant drones. Obviously, they'd have to make sure they were far enough away where you couldn't hear them. It's all rubbish, Skywatcher and Barber. It's just not worth. It's not worth giving that guy your time, really. So you know, he's he's heard from others, as Jake Barber as well, or other stuff he's just made up. Barber and his psionic crew of nothing more than fuzzy pictures and videos. Flocks of birds, bugs, you know, Magic Mike we had last week with his dimly lit, out of focus mess that could be anything. You know, they can summon ETs, but they can't summon them and then film them like I'm filming myself here like this, you know. They can only summon them to be black and white, dimly lit, out of focus. Of course, the flocks of birds have to be out of focus so you can't see them flapping. Yeah, it's all bullshit, all of it. You know, that being dimly lit, having no sound, being out of focus is a prerequisite for all fake ET videos. Just ask John Stewart, you know, with his rubber alien. Of course, their fake electromagnetic dog whistle, just a pipe or coaxial cable wrapped around a rolled up roller door. That's all that would have been. I'll leave a link to the video I made about the electromagnetic dog whistle below, just in case you're interested. It's only a short one. And you can take a look at that if you're interested. Now, Senator Burlison gave Jeremy Corbell a high five. Hey, Jeremy, high five. And told him they were going to get some people subpoenaed. Didn't say who, but I think there's going to be a bit of twitching at the rear end among some of these bullshitters. I don't know. Could they subpoena Jake Barber and say, okay? Where did you get the free energy information? Who told you about that? Okay, and subpoena them. Who told you about that? Subpoena them. See if there's anything to it. There won't be, of course. But just to get to the bottom of it and put a line through it once and for all. Get these subpoenas out there. Get these people in there. You know, make them look bloody stupid. Don't worry about their feelings. They're conning gullible people out of hard-earned money with all this bullshit. You know, so could ask Barber to produce the electromagnetic dog whistle, so it could be examined by a tech team. To be honest, I think one tech worth their salt will be able to look at that and say this is just a theatrical prop, it's just bullshit. Subpoena Jay Stratton. He claims to have seen alien craft and bodies. Didn't he say he went inside an alien spacecraft, Jay Stratton? I don't know whether he was off his medication at the time, or whether he expects people to believe this. You know, we haven't seen Jay Stratton at any of these hearings, have we? So I don't know whether they've put a line through Jay Stratton because his tales are just too fanciful and he can offer no tangible evidence to support anything he says. You've got to remember too that Jay Stratton tells us, he's written a book about it as well, he tells us he was followed home by a Wolverine werewolf. A Wolverine werewolf from Skywatcher Ranch. So I think, you know, somebody told me that, I probably wouldn't bother with anything else they had to say either, to be perfectly honest, unless they could produce some tangible evidence to support what they were saying. I just put a line through them and consider them a fantasist or a bullshitter or whatever. Okay, so that's probably why we haven't had Stratton in front of the Congress at the secrecy hearings, whatever they are, with Luna and Burlison and co. They probably already put a line through him as a waste of time and just not bothered with him. Although Borland was a waste of time, you know, this last one was a complete waste of time as well. You know, it's just nonsense. Waste of time and the taxpayers' money. They could subpoena Hal Putoff. He's been spinning these. I've been working on ET tech for years. Recently he's backpedaled on that and said, no, not personally. No. He knows people that have. So, subpoena Hal Putoff. Okay, who told you? First of all, Mr. Putoff, do you have personal experience handling extraterrestrial, technological or biological materials? Yes or no? They'll say no. I've only been told about it. You know? Even though for years he's been giving the impression he's in there. You know, he's working on this stuff, similar to Eric Davis, exotic propulsion, wormholes. Stories full of holes, that's for sure. And just say, okay, who told you about it? Subpoena them. Who told you about it? Subpoena them. Who told you about it? And they'll be subpoenaing people forever because they're never going to get to somebody that's actually handled it. Every single person that they're presented with will tell them they've been told about it because there's no extraterrestrial, technological or biological material on Earth. It's all complete and utter rubbish. Yeah, so Putoff his backpedaling, just like Davis. You know, they've been saying all this bullshit for years now. It's all now there's a whiff of subpoena in the air. Oh, no. Personally handle it. Seen it? No, not me. No, I couldn't have said that. No one told me about it. Yeah. So get them subpoenaed. Mr. Burlison, get them subpoenaed. Get to the bottom of this. If you really want to get to the bottom of this, you've got to get to the people that are claiming to have handled the material. Get some tangible evidence to support what they're saying or put this science fiction rubbish to bed for good. For once and for all, just put a line through it. It's science fiction rubbish. New business. Next caller, please. Actually, they could subpoena Bob Lazar, couldn't they? Subpoena Bob Lazar and put his ridiculous nonsense to bed once and for all as well, because he's not going to be able to prove anything he said. And if the government look into it, they'll find his employment records, and they'll find he was no physicist. They'll find that he was never at Caltech or MIT. He's just a fantasist. So at least you could sort of officially put a line through Bob Lazar. There's a lot of people out there that are convinced Bob Lazar is the real deal. He obviously isn't. Just put them out of their misery, get him in there, subpoena him, get him in there, put a line through Bob Lazar once and for all. Forget about him, move on. Subpoena Ross Coulthart. And demand he reveals the location of this crashed alien spacecraft that's so big they had to put a building over it. That'd be a laugh, wouldn't it? Of course, he could never reveal it because it doesn't exist. It's not real. He'll say, "Well, I've been told." The same old bullshit. It's the recurring theme. I've been told. I've been told. I've been told. So I've been told it's there. People go there. It's a skating rink. It's not a crashed alien spacecraft. Well, Coulthart will say, "Well, I just repeated what I was told in good faith." Of course, Coulthart is a fanboy. He embellishes all these stories, He talks about this stuff as though it's fact with enthusiasm. And it's all rubbish. And he knows it's rubbish. He never names his source. I can't name my source. I'm a journalist. I can't name my sources. Because if he did, we would all fall about laughing. They would be the usual suspects. Just as Sean Kirkpatrick said, it's science fiction bullshit being perpetuated by a core of science fiction piffle peddlers. That's it. You get the same names over and over and over again. See, Eddie with his flying saucers has disappeared as quickly as he appeared. I strongly suspect Borland will do the same. He'll be out there selling real estate with Grusch and Corbell. Oh dear. So there is no crashed alien spacecraft so large they had to put a building over it. I said before, just think about that for a second. A bit of critical thinking, How many people would have seen it? How many people would be involved in putting a building over it? How many people would have just live streamed it or taken photographs or video, something like that, And how hundreds of people would have been involved in the construction of a building over something like that. Plumbers, electricians, brickies, concreters, architects, And not one of them has come forward to be the most famous person on Earth that can prove we are not alone in the cosmos with tangible evidence. It's ludicrous, isn't it? It's who believes this sort of stuff, I've got a cheese and pickle sandwich over there on the table, and I don't think that would believe it. They're delicious, by the way, cheese and pickle. My favourite. So, Coulthart knows it's all rubbish. If they try and subpoena anybody claiming first-hand experience with ET materials, technology or biology, they're going to hear every excuse under the sun as to why they cannot be given the details. Remember, there's nothing stopping these people telling Arrow all this stuff. Arrow are here to cleared to hear it. They don't need a skiff. They can go and tell Arrow any of this stuff anytime they like. And they like the idea of this Congress not being cleared to hear some of it. I can't talk about that. They've got the Elizondo bullshit pamphlet. I can't talk about that. Yeah, I do know about that. I can't talk about it though. Thank you, Mr. Elizondo. Shepherd's Crook. Stage left. So it's probably your stage right. Exit, stage left, Yvonne. I think Snagglepuss is more credible than these people. Whatever happened to Snagglepuss? Anyway, the thespian panther, wasn't he? Anyway, Snagglepuss would have more credibility than any of these people. So would Top Cat. Yeah, you know, the dog ate the evidence. I'm being threatened. You know, Grandad's ashes were removed and they were put out by the bins. You know, I've got skiff flu. Well, I'm not going to pay my own expenses. Every excuse under the sun as to why they cannot give details that will lead to tangible evidence of extraterrestrials coming here or crashing here. Because ET's not coming here, ET is not crashing here, it's all bullshit. It's a business, you know. It's aliens are coming here, Inc. People are making money out of it. And they'll tell you any old rubbish to make more money. It's their living. So, yeah, they'll hear everything under the sun other than, sure, I'll show you some tangible evidence of ET coming here. I have some physical material, technological and biological, that you can have analysed by some reputable universities and get it peer reviewed. That's the only thing they won't hear. They will hear everything other than that. I have tangible evidence of ET coming here and crashing here. Can I have my Nobel Prize now for being the man that proved with tangible evidence that we are not alone in the cosmos? That's the only thing they won't hear. If I had tangible evidence, I'd be straight onto it, you know. I would want my name to go down in history. We're not alone in the cosmos. I've proved it with tangible evidence. I'll be remembered forever. Avi Loeb. Now, I've never seen Avi Loeb angry until yesterday, I think it was. I'm really quite surprised. Normally, he's really got a happy face and he's bouncing with enthusiasm. But when I saw him yesterday, he looked like he was about to jump into the camera and grab Ross Coulthart by the throat. Button it, Coulthart. You know, he's very angry with Ross Coulthart, telling everyone 3i Atlas is just a rock. Yeah, I've never seen Avi Loeb looking so angry, or angry at all. Yeah, anyway, he says Coulthart is not a scientist, and he's only repeating what he's been told. Again, the recurring theme, I've been told. Maybe by some scientists, maybe not, who knows? But he shouldn't be making those claims. He says there are a few, Dr. Loeb says there are a few anomalies about 3i Atlas that make it worth looking at more closely. He's right, of course. Even if it turns out to be an interstellar comet, we should glean as much information about it as we can. It'll be scientifically interesting. And I think Avi Loeb is right that we should think about what we would do if it turned out to be an alien spacecraft. It is worth... I mean, you shouldn't just jump to the conclusion these things are, you know, it's not an alien spacecraft. We don't know if we're going to get visited by aliens. Maybe it is possible. So he's right that we should consider what would we do. Avi Loeb is right. We should consider what we would do if 3i Atlas turned out to be an alien spacecraft. I suppose that would depend a lot on its intent. Yeah, I mean, If it turned out to be an alien spacecraft, I would just hope that I'm still supple enough to put my head between my legs and kiss my ass goodbye. Because aliens wouldn't come all this way, light years across space, just to say hello. You know, there would be there'd be absolutely nothing in it for them, except the planet itself. So, Dr. Loeb says 3i Atlas has a high mass for its size. Now, just applying a bit of critical thinking, personally, I think that indicates a natural object. Aliens would want their starship to be as low mass as possible. I think the high nickel content, nickel being a heavy metal, also strongly suggests a natural object. We will know soon enough. Apparently the best image of 3i Atlas we're going to get will be taken from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which apparently has spy satellite type resolution. But unfortunately, at the distance it will be from 3i Atlas, 30 kilometres will be 1 pixel. So if 3i Atlas is less than 30 kilometres in size, all we're going to see is 1 pixel. A bit like a Muamua, really. So we're only going to get the usual artist's impressions and more clickbait science fiction images. You know, something that looks like Battlestar Galactica. You know, 3i Atlas is not what it seems. You know, the sort of thing. There's been a proliferation of those sort of videos. I don't even look at them, you know. 3i Atlas has got lights on it, you know. 3i Atlas has got spacecraft coming out of it. You know, it's a mothership. People are just milking it. So, yeah. Interesting, but I think 3i Atlas is a natural object. I sincerely hope it is, as I've said before, because I really wouldn't want aliens visiting this planet. Mr. Nestorus? No, I don't think so. Now, Matthew Brown apparently is also still hanging in there, still trying to make money out of this. ET's coming in, crashing in. You know, he's hanging also by his fingernails. He refers to Ronald Reagan. I can't remember who was addressing Ronald Reagan. Was it State of the Union or was it the UN? He's made 2 or 3 of those. You know, what would we do if ETs came here? You know, how quickly we would forget all our differences and unite to fight this common enemy. And Matthew Brown refers to that. And says that, you know, Trump should disclose, because if Trump discloses, then everyone will know that there is a potential common enemy out there, and it would unite, or everyone on Earth would unite, you know. Everyone would be dancing around like Morris dancers, you know, on the Ukrainian eastern border. It would end the war in Ukraine. It would end conflicts all over the world if Trump just discloses. And of course that's complete and utter rubbish. It will bring peace and the fluffiness all over the world. You know, Trump has said in at least 2 TV interviews that personally he doesn't believe in aliens. This tells me no one has told him behind the scenes there's anything to disclose. Brown also alludes to free energy and how all the problems in the world, energy problems, would be solved if only he would disclose and we get this free energy. You know, so many people, Chris Mellon says the same thing, Steve Batshit says the same thing, you know, they're clueless. Nothing in nature is free, no such thing as free energy. So, Yeah, Brown is also the originator of the ridiculous Immaculate Constellation document. Do you remember that? Is that the crash retrieval document? It's just rubbish, you know, it's just drivel. As I've said before, you know, if we truly faced a threat from aliens, extraterrestrial aliens, they would wipe us out. They would wipe us out with a bioweapon from orbit. You know, everything they didn't want would be wiped out. They'd leave all the animals and stuff that they did want. You know, it would be just like the plot from the movie Moonraker, you know, with Drax. These glass domes full of the bioweapons going to kill every person on Earth so they can start again. It would be done like that. There wouldn't be a, you know, there wouldn't be a shooting war with aliens. You know, we wouldn't even see them. We wouldn't meet them. There would be no. There would be. We would be wiped out in a couple of days. We wouldn't even know what was happening. That's what would really happen. You know, it's. They wouldn't come here. They wouldn't come here and fight us on our terms. You know, there wouldn't be a shooting war. They wouldn't come here. They wouldn't come here with an attack fleet that has a single point of failure that we could destroy and thwart their plan. Like every science fiction film ever made, you know, with Independence Day, destroy the mothership, and all the others fall out of the sky, you know. Every single science fiction film has to have a single point of failure. The aliens have to have a single point of failure so that we can win in science fiction. And that would not happen there will be no coming together of nations to fight aliens. You know, with IEDs and Molotov cocktails and AK-47s and all the super weaponry of the superpowers. That would never happen. Everyone would be dead before they realised there was a threat. Aliens aren't going to want to clear up lots and lots of biomess, you know, dead bodies all ripped to bits and everything else, destroyed buildings. You know, with a bioweapon, everything remains standing. And just quarantine the planet for a couple of years. They come back and all the nasty biomess has gone. The bugs and predators have got rid of it all. All you have to do is sweep the bones up and move in. That's how it would be done. So this is complete and utter nonsense. Yeah, the bottom line is, if ETs come here with hostile intent, we're screwed. That's the bottom line. You know. That's the reality of it. We're not going to be fighting guerrilla wars like Travis Taylor's. Well, yeah, we could win, yeah. They have trouble with the logistics. Just ask me, I'm an alien invasion expert, and of course he knows FA about thwarting an alien invasion. He's never been involved with one. He's never thwarted one. Obviously he hasn't applied any critical thinking to it. You know, so, yeah. The UAP task force must have already put a line through Matthew Brown, because they haven't had Matthew Brown testifying, have they? I suspect Matthew Brown may have told his story to Arrow, and Arrow have said, you know, low information zone, we can't do anything with that, which is a nice way of saying it's a lot of science fiction bullshit. Maybe they should subpoena Brown, Matthew Brown, just so they can put a line through Brown. No one will take him seriously again. Just get him in there, subpoena him, and ask him the questions. Okay. This is just what I've been told. You know, I've been told they're recovering this stuff. You know. Who told you, Mr. Brown? Okay, subpoena them. Who told you? Who told you? And so it would go on. They're never going to get to anybody that's actually handled this stuff because there's no stuff to handle. Extraterrestrial material, technological or technological or biological material is not on Earth. No one has samples of it. So maybe they should subpoena Matthew Brown. Just get a line put through Matt Brown. New business. Next caller, please. Another one bites the dust. Just hammer these piffle peddlers to a point where they are shown to be piffle peddlers. There's so many gullible people out there that believe these people, you know. And it's just... they're spending their hard-earned money on a lot of science fiction rubbish, peddled as truth. Goodness knows why, but a lot of people would like the planet to be visited by aliens. Clueless. Think they're going to give them the secrets of interstellar travel, you know, might beam them up so they don't have to work in a supermarket anymore. What do they think they're going to be? If the best they can do is stacking shelves in a supermarket here, what use do you think the aliens are going to have for them exactly on a starship? Going to be fixing the warp drive? Oh dear, you know, these people must have the IQ of a carrot, mustn't they, really? So, yeah, just put a line through Matthew Brown, just like you put a line through Bob Lazar. You know, it's all rubbish. Zero tangible evidence of visiting ETs put forward by Brown. It's a recurring theme, isn't it? You know, it's all stories. There's never any tangible evidence. Never any tangible evidence. I sincerely hope Mr. Burlison does not put up 4 more people that are going to just sit there and tell stories. You know, I've seen a huge flying triangle, you know. And the evidence you have to support this story, Mr. Borland. Well, I've got this episode 1. Sorry. Series 1, Episode 2. X-Files clip. Don't forget, link below. Check it out. You'll see exactly what I mean. Okay. Lots of claims from different people, zero tangible evidence to support a single one of them. Just think about that for a minute. All of these claims made by all of these people, and there's not a scrap of tangible evidence put forward to support even one of them. Oh dear. So next Tuesday, as in see you next Tuesday, is the day all the US government, intelligence, research and military organisations have to hand over all of their UFO information and artefacts to the National Archive. And everything over 25 years old is to be released to the public. Danny Sheehan and co are so sure some ET information will be released that they're having a global disclosure day on October the 20th. Of course, this will in fact be a global egg on face day, as there's nothing to disclose. ETs aren't coming here, ETs aren't crashing here. It's all science fiction rubbish. Of course, I'll be here on the first Sunday after October the 20th, or on October the 20th, if that's a Sunday, having a very good laugh and a jolly good gloat, and I'll be saying, told ya, told ya, told ya. Well, there we go. I can't believe it, but that's quite a lot of piffle this week. As always, if you've struggled through the video all the way to this point, many thanks for watching, and maybe I'll catch you again.